Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard Podcast with your host, Collin and Braeden Cox, as we record here on May 15th. Baseball season, I think we're like about a quarter of a way through. So, Braeden and I are going to give you another quick update, our thoughts, our reactions, everything in between. We might give a little like who we think our AL and NL MVPs are, some sleeper teams, and we did make some predictions in the beginning of the season before it started. So we'll give you how that's looking as well. So yeah, Brain, I think I don't really know where to start. I know we're kind of just winging this episode, but I know
Yeah.
you can start off with our Yankees a little bit. I think to me, they've been definitely a surprise. I don't think I'd expect them to be this good. I think they have 30
Yeah.
wins. They're the only AL team
Yeah.
with 30 wins right now.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies are the only other team in the league with 30 wins.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think the Yankees have gotten my hopes up. Judge is starting to get hot again. He has like six doubles in the past two games or something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
Pitching has been solid. Soto, kind of carrying
Pitching
them
without
first.
Garrett Cole,
Yeah,
our Cy
without
Young
Garrett
winner,
Cole.
has been solid.
Yeah. So I'll start with the Yankees real quick, and then we'll move toward other teams. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Brandon, what's your just um overall reaction to the Yankees' hot start? Do you think they can keep it up? And do you think like they're actual legit contenders?
Yeah. I mean, as Yankee fans, as a Yankees fan, I'm always gonna be a little like, I guess, on the fence. So I'm definitely not gonna sit here and be like, this is our year. Like, I'm not gonna do that, right? Because that's just kind of unrealistic. I mean, swept Minnesota. That just kind of seems like something that the Yankees, that's their
Inevitable.
bread and butter, is they really like to play in Minneapolis or St. Paul, wherever it
Yeah.
may be.
My AL World
Play really
Series
well
team.
there. Yeah, yeah. And
And they were hot they were like they won like
the,
12 in a row at one point, and the Twins, I
yeah.
mean, 12
And
in
then
a
they scored
row.
one run in 3 games against the
Yeah.
Yankees.
They played a real team, I
So
guess.
like it's definitely impressive. You know, to me, honestly, what may even be a little bit more impressive is winning 2 out of 3 in Tampa. And I know that might not sound like much because Tampa, I think, is last in the AL East. But
I think the
on
Blue
the
Jays are.
road, yeah, or yeah, second to last, whatever it may be. On the road in Tampa, you're better than them. But it always kind of feels like
Yeah, and
those
they
weekend series in
they never
Tampa,
play there.
the
They never
Yankees
play well
always
there.
never play to their best.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So for them to win a couple games there, yeah, they lost Saturday. It felt like it was a good weekend for them, and then to obviously to travel from Tampa to Minnesota and then kind of keep the momentum going, is a good feeling. And then this weekend you've got Chicago, which is probably the worst team in baseball.
I mean,
Um,
Chicago has been kind of they started off
right.
terrible, but they've been playing a lot better ball in May, I must
This
say.
is true.
It
This
kind
is
of does
true.
feel like a little
So
bit of a trap series, considering coming off big series wins against the Rays and then the sweep
yeah,
of the Twins.
yeah.
So it does kind of feel like a trap series, but we'll see. That game's tomorrow.
Yeah, but I will say I'm confident going into it. I'm very
Yeah,
confident going into it. I'm confident they can sweep them, at least take 2 out of 3. But then the following week they got a 4 game set at home against Seattle, which is, I think, going to be a very, very important series to watch. Like, if you're a baseball fan, I think that's going to be a series at this point in the season you're going to kind of circle. You got 4 games in the Bronx against two teams that are kind of playing like two of the best teams in the AL right now, I would say. It's kind of a sneaky
hmm.
good series next week. And on top of it, you get 4 games of it. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how the Yankees perform. I know I picked Seattle. So I'm obviously going to root for the Yankees, but I don't want Seattle to kind of lose, the hot start that they have in
Hmm.
the AL West thus far into the season. But yeah, um, I like where the Yankees are at. They've had a couple weird series where they haven't played well, like super well. Like, yeah, they lost one to Houston, they swept the Tigers, but then a few weeks back they played in Baltimore and they didn't play well. They won one game, but I don't think they even played super well that game. Like, I think it was like a 1-0 or 2-0 win. So obviously the pitching showed up, but like the offense kind of died. And over the past month, I would say that was probably the most important series the Yankees have played, and that's when they played their worst. So that's like
Yeah.
they're winning games, right? Which is really good. You need to win games because then you have a better record, you make the playoffs, you have a higher seeding, all that. But if you're looking at one series probably throughout this whole season, there's one series this whole season, it's probably that Baltimore series, and that's kind of when they look their worst, I would say. So there's definitely some question marks, but they're in a good spot thus far.
Um, Sorry, Maisie's barking in the background, of course.
You're good.
But yeah, I was gonna say let's stick to the topic of the Orioles. To me right now, I think they're the Yankees' biggest threat in the
Yeah.
AL.
Yeah.
I think they lead the league in home runs. It kind of like how
Yep.
we both expected them to be. Just they've been mashing ever since last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I'd want to say that they're the biggest threat to the Yankees for the AL. But I know last year they were super young. They are kind of still young. But one thing that really stands out to me is the fact that the Orioles, I don't think I think the stat is they have not gotten swept in a series of two or more games since like 2022 or something like that.
Yeah. Because I remember last year,
So
I think we said last year that they
yeah.
didn't get swept.
And
Um,
yesterday they were down 2-1 in the ninth, and then Adley Rutschman hit a 2-run walk off home run to save like because they were almost got swept.
yeah.
They lost the first two games against the Jays, and then they won the last one. So their record or their streak is still intact there. But yeah, I just think it's kind of right now. I know you mentioned the Mariners, but to me, it's between the Yankees and the Orioles.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
just because like they both have great offenses, and they also both have great pitching staffs too.
Yeah.
Um, so I just think they're the both of them are kind of the teams to be in the AL, and it's just unfortunate that one of them is going to be a wild card team, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes come September, what the standings are looking like, and even come middle of the year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a fun division overall, just the race for first place. And yeah, just excited for what they both have to offer. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have Baltimore making the playoffs and all because I kind of expected maybe them to take a little bit of a step back just because, hey, they got a lot of young talent. There's this expectation now. Are they going to be able to meet that expectation? I knew they were going to be good. I questioned if they were going to be able to be, a shell of what they were last season. And
right.
they've proved me wrong thus far. Just sticking in the East real quick. Toronto is what's going on there? They're kind of a mess, right? Like, I don't know. Like,
They're
I
just
had
like the same problem I think is just they've
it's the
had for
same
the
thing
past
every
5 years
year.
is that bullpen because like I know we were talking about this earlier before we were started recording. When I was at the Nationals game a couple weeks ago, Kikuchi he threw like seven innings, 6 or 7 innings with one earned run. He
Yeah.
felt like he had a little bit left in the tank, but they took him out. Bullpen comes in and they just completely
Yeah, eight
blew it.
runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I want to say I haven't watched a lot of Blue Jays, but if I had to say, it's probably their bullpen. And
Yeah.
kind of just their pitching overall. They're not great at pitching. It's not a circuit that they could hit. And they even have a good defense with like Dalton Varsho on center. But yeah, I would just say probably the pitching and mostly the relief pitching is probably still what's holding them back from winning games.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I just kind of expected, I don't know, it's still early in the season. I kind of expected the East to look a little bit different, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think both of us expected it to be just better overall.
Yeah.
Especially the Rays and the Blue Jays. But I
It
mean,
kind
if
of
they're not
feels a
going to be
little top
competitive, I'm
heavy
not
with
going to complain.
Baltimore and the
So
Yankees. It, it
what's
feels top
that?
heavy. It feels top heavy. It feels like that the only playoff teams in this division are the Yankees and Orioles. It's not like because really like I'm not buying Boston, right? They're 22 and 21. They're floating around 500. But like not to switch gears too quick here, but there's three teams in the AL Central that I would say are playoff teams right now. Cleveland, Kansas City, and Minnesota are all playing good baseball. I know Minnesota just got swept by the Yankees, but like I think all three of those teams are better than Boston, Tampa, and Toronto right now. And I
No,
think
I
they're just, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say I think the AL Central, I mean, is kind of just over. I think the AL Central has exceeded our expectation. I think the AL
For
East
sure.
not met
For
our
sure.
expectations. So I think kind of like reverse like logic there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, that's a good way.
I'm trying to find the Blue Jays bullpen ERA, and yeah, they're 29th in the league. They're
Yeah.
29th in the league in bullpen ERA at 5.03.
Ooh, yeah.
So
That'll do it.
um
That'll do it.
so let me
And
look
you
at
saw you
their
saw 8 runs when you were in Washington.
yeah. Some of them were unearned though, I must say.
That's fair.
But still, yeah, they those 3 runs when Luis Garcia Jr. hit the home run. Their starting pitching is 4.13 ERA, which is 21st in the league. So
Yeah,
I think their
so
pitching
I'm gonna have
overall
to.
is just what's holding them back.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like that, you know, last summer that maybe, Shohei was gonna show up. Not I guess
Yeah,
it wasn't summer, I guess it was later in the year than that, but it was like, oh, maybe Shohei goes to Toronto, and then there was that rumor that it came out,
yeah,
and it doesn't look like Toronto's ever really recovered from that. So
yeah.
but I'm not really too surprised by that. I don't think either of us had Toronto making the playoffs, so where they
No,
finish, I don't
they
really
were
care.
kind of they were kind of like the first team out for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Um, but anyway, I don't know
yeah,
if you want to
Let's move over to the AL Central. I know we kind of just talked about them a little bit. To me,
yeah,
Brand, I think the AL Central as a whole has been the biggest surprise to me
for sure.
so
Yeah, I
far.
agree 100%.
I know the Yankees kind of just up the Twins, but before that, the Twins were super hot after a super slow start too. They went a crazy win streak, and then even they lost one, and they went another little win streak. And then we had the Royals and the Guardians as well. I didn't really have high expectations for the Guardians or the Royals. I thought the Royals, were super young, super like electric, but not quite there. But so far, yeah, they look like one of the better teams in the league. Same thing with the Guardians. I think the Guardians are really they've really exceeded my expectations because they don't really have a lot of like big name stars.
Yeah.
But they find a way to win ball games. They play the small ball style and they win. They pitch well. And their bullpen is also really good too. So I think if I had to say that my biggest surprise like team so far, it's definitely the Guardians.
Yeah. No, I think that's completely fair. I think I would, you know, I guess I'm not as surprised as maybe you are about Cleveland, because Cleveland and Minnesota have kind of been the teams that have run that division. Like last year it was the Twins, but I believe the year prior Cleveland won that division. You know what I mean? So Cleveland's like more of a veteran team in this division, regardless, right? So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like shocked by it, but I would say that my bigger takeaway is how good all three of these teams are.
Yeah, no,
Because
that's
it's
a good
not
point.
like that the team is all mediocre and it's close. You know what I mean? Because we could be talking about a bunch of teams that are 500, but these teams are all almost like they're all are over. Yeah, they're they're all
Now,
over
yeah,
500,
so
easily
like
over
as
500.
good
Look at
as
10 teams over 500.
yeah, as good as the Guardians are playing, Kansas City is 1.5 games behind them, and the Twins are two and
That's
a
what I'm
half games
saying.
behind. So
Yeah, that's the real surprise for me.
yeah,
Is it's I was
just
not
the division
expecting I was
overall.
expecting it
Yeah,
to be competitive, but not in the sense that you know I guess the best way to put it is I was like, okay, all you're gonna really need to do is win like 85 games in this division to win it, right? And we
yeah.
both picked Minnesota to do that. I don't know if that's gonna cut it.
No,
The way that they're
no, I
playing,
agree. I
you might
think
have to go out and win
we might
90
have been
plus games
90.
in this division the way that they're playing.
Right.
Um,
No, that's a good point.
yeah,
I,
and I mean, again, I'm not too surprised by Cleveland, right? Because they've kind of been there, done that. I'm not too surprised by Minnesota because they were there last year. The Royals being right on their tail is that's very
yeah,
impressive. That's probably one of the
we're
more impressive teams I would say this
yeah,
year to be this far, because we talked about them, a month ago on the pod. And we're like, hey, like look at the Royals, like a hot start, or are they gonna be able to keep it up? We both were like, probably not, but like it's a good story if they finish over 500. Like that's a huge win.
definitely.
Um, but we could potentially be talking about this team if they keep it up being near 90 wins, which would be awesome for that fan base considering what they've dealt with. They've got a lot to look forward to. So
Yeah, I think it hit the nail on the head there. Like no one really expected any of these teams to really, be this good.
Yeah.
But now next thing you know, the whole division's good, and you have to win 90 games just to probably make the playoffs at this point. Especially
Yeah.
if the Yankees and Orioles stay this hot too. So it's gonna be another fun race to watch. In the AL Central, I hope all three teams can keep it up just to make it more fun toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
but I just think like as a whole, my biggest surprise, like you said, it's been the Guardians and just the AL Central like division.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just been fun to watch. They play all three of those teams play great ball. Um, and yeah, it's just gonna be. I think they're all super young too, so they'll be good for the years to come as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you there. Moving to the AL West, just real quick. The only team I
Yeah,
really want to note here, we already mentioned Seattle. Pretty decent start for them. The Rangers are just a tick behind them. I'm still looking at the Astros, man. I shouldn't say I'm worried because I hate the Astros, but like, I don't know. Like, 18 and 25, like they've played better as of late. They've won their last four, but
mm-hmm.
like, it's still, I was expecting by now to see a little bit of a, okay, like this looks like what we've seen previously, but I haven't
Like
seen it yet. They
I
have a
think we were
negative run
expecting them.
differential.
I think we were expecting them to be at least 500 by now, even
Yeah,
after the slow start.
exactly.
But yeah, they're still 7 games under. So ah, yeah, like I know what you mean by you don't want to say you're worried about them, but it's just definitely not looking good right now. I know they are on that 4 game win streak, but
And we're
with the
still early.
Mariners, what's that?
It's still early. So like
Yeah,
it's not time to press the panic button yet, but they do look like a shell of what they once were. Like
yeah,
even last
definitely,
year or the
no
year
doubt about it.
before.
It
So
does. I did notice that Bregman. I think he's getting a little hot now. Kyle Tucker
yeah.
leads the league in home runs too.
Yep.
So I think I'm still not counting them out just yet. I think maybe give
No.
another week or two. We'll see where they're at. Um, but I think they are starting to click a little bit. Um, and yeah, I just don't want to cut them out in mid May. Like I
Yeah.
said, maybe come June, and they're still 7 games under 500. Then it's more of panic time for them. But I'm still giving it a few more weeks.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Um on the NL side of things in the East, just
Yeah,
real quick, not really too many surprises here besides the
yeah.
Phillies looking like
Let's
the
start with the
best
NL
team in
East. Yeah,
baseball.
yeah. Um, the Phillies, the best record in baseball, like you just said. Um, the Braves trailed them in the loss column by 1, but the win column by 5. I don't know why
Yeah.
the Phillies have played so many more games
Yeah,
than them
just some
already,
rain
but
outs or whatever it may be.
yeah. But yeah, I think the Phillies. I knew they're gonna be solid, year in year out, especially with like Harper and Bohm and Stott. They have a good core there. But I wasn't expecting them to be this good. First team to 30
Yeah.
wins. They have 31 wins now. I think they beat the Mets tonight. So
Yep.
it's a sweep. That's a sweep of the Mets in New York. Um, and I think Alec Bohm is probably like a top 5 MVP candidate right now.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely. I agree.
so that's definitely a big surprise. I think he can keep it up all season, especially compared to like Shohei or Freddie Freeman? No. But it's definitely promising for Phillies fans. They might have to be talking about another big contract extension soon, if you
Yeah.
keep it up all season.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's definitely impressive thus far. I look at their away record, 15 and 6. That that'll get it done any season if he can kind of keep that up. I mean, the sky's the limit if you're going to play that good on the road. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know how many times they've matched up with like, I don't have their schedule up, but how many times are they just beating up on the Marlins and the Mets? Like that's kind of what I'm asking at this point. Is like, okay, you only have 13 losses. Like, who are those losses to, and who are those wins to? Because 31 and 13 is no joke. I mean, you're basically winning 7 out of every 10 games at that point, which is like at that point you're going to be like for sure the number one seed in the NL. Can they keep it up? The Braves, I I don't want to say that the Braves are out of it because there are only 3 games left. But if the Phillies stay this hot, like they're gonna win that division, I think.
yeah. I mean, we kind of figured the Braves would pull away once again, especially how good of a season they had last year. Pull away with with the division. But yeah, the Phillies are making it really tough on them. And Phillies, they are a very streaky team. So they can go through like that 10-game win streak, and then they also go through like a 10-game lose streak. That's kind of
Yeah.
what concerns me about the Phils. But
Yeah.
but like I said, they're a great team. I just think again, it's gonna be another fun division. I think if we're mid May, we're kind of seeing like which teams could start pulling
Yeah.
away from here. But yeah, I think it's gonna be like this race pretty much between the Phillies and the Braves
Yeah.
at this point. So
Yeah. 100%. I'm with you there. Um, the NL Central is a little interesting too. I know we got a little bit here, but our Reds are tied for last in the division. I'm not sure if you're worried yet, but I'm a little. I don't know.
I'm out on the Reds, Bray. I'm out.
Really
I
already?
know we
It's
both had
still
high
early.
expectations. I know it's still early, but they're not playing the same brand of ball they did last year to me.
Yeah, from
They
what
have
I've
a lot of
noticed. Yeah,
injuries.
yeah,
Pitching has been great. And I think the Brewers and the Cubs are also a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
yeah,
So I know it's early. I'm not saying the Reds can't make a comeback, but I think I'm out on them now. I think it's now the Brewers or the Cubs division to lose.
yeah. I'm not gonna jump ship yet because I've been on the Reds a little bit, right? And it's still one of those divisions where you don't fully 110% trust the Brewers or Cubs yet, right? They look good, but do you trust them, you know, to go throughout the summer and continue to play this brand of baseball that they've been playing so well? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's a weird, wonky division, so we'll see how it all ends
Yeah.
up. But I'm just gonna throw it out there now. The way that they're playing, and you mentioned that they're definitely exceeding our expectations. I think the Brewers might kind of be my sleeper team, man. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is,
I mean, they're not even like a really a sleeper team anymore.
because
They're just good. They're a
well,
good
here's the
team. They were to
that's
us.
the
Like
thing
to
is
me, we slept on them, but
the weird thing is the way that I've always viewed the Brewers, at least for the past few years, is like their pitching staff has been dominant and they can't score like at will. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this last year in the playoffs, right? We were like, this team is reliant heavily on their pitching and their bullpen to win them games,
yeah.
right? And that's kind of what failed them against the Diamondbacks. They're raking this year.
Yeah. Willie
Reese
Contreras. They
Hoskins,
had,
what a
yeah,
grab for what a
right.
grab Reese Hoskins was. What a grab Gary Sanchez was.
Yeah, they were trying out Gary Sanchez at first race because he's been first base because he's been hitting so well. Because it
Yeah,
and can he'd be behind Willie Contreras, who's also one of the better hitters in baseball this year. So they tried out Gary Sanchez at first base to see what he could do, but I think he's been mostly, backup catcher, DH spot. But yeah, just their whole team as a whole. I don't know if it's the hitting coaches or what over there, but
they're
their
just
whole team
good.
was just breaking.
They're just good.
Sal
I don't even
Frelick
know
even.
really how to explain it.
Yeah.
So
Another
I mean,
another thing where they just play that good brand of baseball. And I think there's a lot of concern with Craig Counsell going to the Cubs.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
Corbin
even the Cubs are
Burns.
doing well too. So another fun division. I think I'm out on the Reds. I think it's between the Brewers and the Cubs, and again, going to be another fun division to watch come September.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm not going all in on the Brewers, but like I think if you're looking at this and you look at the Phils, you look at the Braves playing good but below our expectations, I'd say. I mean, they're still 26 and 14. They're still really good, but it's a tough division. And then you look at the Dodgers, of course, but then the rest of the segue into the NL West, the NL West not probably playing as well as we thought too. It's almost like maybe the Brewers could be a little bit of a surprise team this year. So,
Yeah,
like I said, the NL West kind of a step behind where I thought they would be. The Dodgers still playing well, but the
yeah,
Diamondbacks below 500 at this point, I
concerning.
don't know.